Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we are going to be doing a tier list video. I know tier lists are very popular, and I know WolfClick does a lot of like tier lists from a competitive VGC perspective, and I want to do my own take from a Pokemon Go perspective. So what I've done is these are Ash's Pokemon, at least based off this tier list, pre-made tier list. I've already included the ones that are not available in Pokemon Go into this NA category since they're not available, and maybe in a future list we'll put them into a some new tiers. And these are the Pokemon that Ash does have available, and I'm going to be ranking them based off of their performance in Pokemon Go PvP. So S tier is a Pokemon that's like typically like top 5 in one league or top 10 in across multiple leagues. Then A tier is like a Pokemon that you would use. It's pretty meta. It's not the very best Pokemon, but it's very good. B tier are likely like off meta Pokemon that kind of have like really niche use. I wouldn't say they'd be used by like a very large amount of player base. And then C tier are like not absolutely terrible, and maybe with a slight buff they could be better. And then D tier are they're just awful right now, and it'd be very difficult to save them. So why don't we start with the very first one, which is Apom. Apom evolves into Ambipom, Ambipom I should say. And Ambipom has Scratch, Aerial Ace, and Low Sweep. So it's an absolutely terrible Pokemon, so we're just going to automatically put it into the D tier. It's a cute looking Pokemon, but it's absolute trash in Pokemon Go. Butterfree, I think Butterfree gets access to, it does get access to Confusion, Psychic, and Signal Beam. I think Signal Beam is a pretty bad move. Butterfree has like pretty poor stat distribution, so unfortunately it's also going to go into the D tier. Kingler, evolved form of Krabby, has some pretty interesting moves. It's very attack oriented, so it has it's very poor bulk in the Great League and in Master League, but it does get access to Bubble, Mudshot. Crabhammer is a good move. It also gets accessor for the bait, so I don't think it's absolute trash, but I don't think it's like a B tier Pokemon. I think we're gonna start with the C tier Pokemon. And then we have Lapras. Lapras is absolutely amazing in the Ultra League. It's definitely a top 10 Pokemon in the Ultra League, and probably like a top 25 Pokemon in the Great League. It's able to be Altaria and Azumarill. Ice Shard is legacy. Ice Beam is legacy. Surf is good move. Skull Bash is a great coverage move for it. I think it's an S tier Pokemon. I don't think there's like any doubt that's an S tier Pokemon. It's probably one of the best Pokemon in that Ashes has from a Pokemon Go perspective. Look at the list further down, I think there's like maybe one competitor that would be pretty competitive, but Lapras is a very dominant Pokemon and definitely deserves to be an S tier Pokemon. Okay, Larvitar evolves into Pupitar and into Tyranitar. I would say Tyranitar is a B tier Pokemon. I could definitely see some play in the Master League, and I've definitely seen it in Premier Cup. It's been used a couple times. Unfortunately, it's like it has really good stats for the Master League, but unfortunately its moves and its like typing don't really fit that well, mostly because of like Togekiss and all the steel types that are able to do a lot of damage, and then the counters to the steel types that have fighting moves that obviously deal double super effective damage to Tyranitar. But it definitely has some play. You wouldn't be absolutely crazy if you were to use this in competitive Pokemon Go. Grimer I'm going to put in the same category. Has some use in the Great League. It does have access to like Poison Jab, Thunder Punch, Dark Pulse, which are pretty solid moveset. Just not quite good enough to be in the meta. Pidgeot, I think it has like Wing Attack, Aerial Ace, Hurricane, like mono flying. Flying Pokemon are usually pretty good in the Great League. You think about it's like probably top 3 most dominant types, like water and steel are probably competitive with it, but unfortunately Pidgeot, its normal typing doesn't really help it that much. Maybe against ghost types. I wouldn't say you're crazy to use it So it's debatable if it's C or B tier. I'm gonna put it in C tier. Some people may disagree with me. It does have some niche use in Silpharina cups, but I think like Wing Attack is legacy. So, and then Squirtle evolves into Blastoise. Blastoise has some like niche use in Great League, has pretty good use in Ultra League. So I'm gonna put it in A tier. I think it's viable to use in Ultra League. I wouldn't say it's like a staple. And then as well, I know Caleb Peng developed a Great League team around it. It's able to beat Azumarill, able to beat Registeel. I think it's pretty decent. It has really good stats for the Ultra League as well. Haunter evolves into Gengar. Haunter itself is like a top 20 Pokemon in the Great League. Gengar with Shadow Punch is gonna be very good in Ultra and in Great. I'm gonna put it in S tier. It's debatable. It's probably like more like an A plus tier because it's very good in one league and some kind of niche use in the other leagues. Glalie evolves from, I forget the unevolved form, but also has like Frostlass. So I'm gonna include Frostlass in this consideration as well. And I think it's like I think it's an A tier. It's like a lower tier A tier. Glalie itself is probably a B tier, or maybe even a C plus tier. But when you include Frostlass, I think it's an A tier. It definitely has some niche use in the Great League mostly. It's also very commonly used in Silpharina cups. So, and it's usually very good in Silpharina cups, like probably one of the safest switches. Because Frostlass says Glalie is like probably not as great. Glalie would probably be a C plus tier, and then Frostlass would probably be like an A minus A. So I think that's pretty appropriate. Bayleaf evolves into Meganium. Bayleaf's pretty decent, and then Meganium is very good. It's excellent in the Great League, and it's somewhat viable in Ultra League. It's kind of a tough one because it's probably like rated higher in Great League than Lapras is in Ultra. Just barely, but it's also rated lower than Lapras would be in Ultra, as opposed like in Great League, as opposed if you look at like Lapras. Well, I guess we can just look it up. Okay, so let's see this. So Meganium is 21 in Great League, and Lapras is 26 in Great League, and then Lapras is 29 in Ultra League. And then Meganium's actually rated higher, but Lapras is definitely used more often. You know what? Based off the numbers there, I think we put it in S tier. I don't think it's better than Lapras, because Lapras also has some niche use in like Premier. But I think you can justify it in S tier. Some people may disagree with me. So, then oh man, what's the name of this Pokemon again? Oh man, okay. I can't believe I almost never use this Pokemon. It's evolves from oh man, okay. This is struggling right now. Let me just look it up. I don't even have the evolved form of this one. I know it like has like Smackdown. Man, I am blanking here. Well, this is a terrible video already. Okay, yeah, yeah. Bolor, and it evolves into, what's it evolve into? Gigalith. Oh yes, Gigalith. Okay, you know what? If I saw the evolved form. Anyways, Gigalith is. Let's see how it ranks. I am struggling. Gigalith ranks 220 in Ultra League and ranks 356. I think it's a D tier Pokemon. Let's put it in D tier. I don't even have the evolved form of it. It's actually decent in like raids and stuff because it's a decent attack, but yeah. No, unfortunately, not a quality tier Pokemon. in my eyes and perspective. Okay, we're gonna go to Floatzel, Weasel, Floatzel, and Bleasel. Like, has like Aqua Jet. It's like it's not a good Pokemon. Go to Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur obviously evolves in Ivysaur. Ivysaur is decent in Great League, and then Venusaur is very good in Great League. It's unfortunately not as good as Meganium in Go Battle League, mostly because like it beats other grass types, but Meganium is good because it's a grass type and as well has the ability to hit the steel types. So, and then Venusaur has some niche use in Ultra League as well, and then some niche use in like it can't really compete in Masters and the rest of them. Oh man, this is a struggle. I kind of need a tier between. I'm gonna put it in A tier. It's better than Squirtle. It's better than Frostlass, but I can't put it in S tier. Yeah, I just can't put it in S tier, unfortunately. So the next one we're gonna take a look at is Charizard. Charizard is a very good Pokemon in the Ultra League. It has some niche use in Great League. It's used a lot in Silpharina Cups. Man, and it has some niche use in Premier. I might get torched on this one, unfortunately. I think it's A tier. It just doesn't have as much flexibility in the Great League as like Meganium and Lapras and like Haunter and Gengar type perspective. Yeah, unfortunately. Crawdon, obviously the evolved form, is a decent Pokemon. Has some niche use, so I'm gonna put it in B tier. You definitely use it in the Ultra League. Has some like very niche play against Cresselia and Giratina, and as well as Swampert. So I think it's not bad. I definitely could see some use. Donphan, not a huge fan of Donphan. Counter, Charm, Heavy Slam, Earthquake, all pretty decent moves, but unfortunately it hasn't found its right use yet. Gibble, obviously Garchomp is a very dominant Pokemon, top 4 in Premier, top 20 in Masters. Unfortunately, it's kind of like a one league Pokemon, and if it was like, I guess it's a top 5 in Premier. Without Premier, I would say it's probably like without Premier, it's like a B plus, or it's probably like a B plus Pokemon. Definitely has some niche use in Masters. I'm gonna put it in A tier. You could argue if Premier was to stay, I would say I would put it in S tier because it's definitely a top 4 Pokemon in the Premier Cup for Master League. But then Gligar, Gliscor, has like niche play. I'm gonna put it into B tier. Its typing doesn't help it that much. Flying ground, so yeah, not amazing. Heracross is good in the Ultra League. Has some niche use in Premier and in Masters. Kind of limited use in Great League because it's so squishy and there's too many flyers. I'm gonna put it into the B tier. Definitely has some play. Solid Pokemon to use in the Ultra League. You wouldn't be absolutely crazy. Infernape, I'm gonna put it in the C tier. Has some niche use. Fire Spin, Close Combat, Blast Burn, pretty good moveset. Kind of squishy though. Noctowl, I'm gonna put it into the B tier. Noctowl is very good in Silpharina Cups. It has, unfortunately, it competes with too many other good flyers that have better secondary typings in Dragon and Steel, but I think it's a pretty solid Pokemon. It also has like limited coverage moves. Psychic and Nightshade don't really help it that much against like Bastiodon and Registeel in the Great League, and as well Noctowl is only a Great League Pokemon. Oshawott evolves into Samurott, I believe. Unfortunately, not a good Pokemon right now, but it definitely has some future use in the future. It will have some good future use. Unfortunately, it has to deal with like the likes of Empoleon and Feraligatr that have like better secondary better typing or better secondary charge moves that give it better coverage. Seismitoads, what's this, Palpitoad or something like that? Anyway, Seismitoad, it has some like niche use. I wouldn't call it like, I think it's more like in the C tier, in the higher C tier than these other C tier Pokemon. Pignite, fortunately, doesn't have any good moves right now. It has like Ember or Low Kick or something like that. Not that good. Primate, Counter, Cross Shot, Night Slash, pretty decent in the Great League. I'm gonna put it into C tier, probably lower. Actually, like pretty on par, lower than Seismitoad for sure. Typhlosion, Shadow Claw, Blast Burn, Solar Beam, really good moveset. Has some really solid play in the Ultra League. I'm gonna put it up here. I wouldn't put it in the class of Charizard because I think Charizard is better because of its flying typing. Allows it to also resist Focus Blast, so it walls Registeel better. But Typhlosion definitely has some really solid play, and I would say it's like higher than Tyranitar, higher than Grimer, higher than Crawdon, higher than Gliscor, and it's probably like pretty on par with Heracross and Noctowl. Sceptile, I'm gonna put in the same category. With Bullet Seed, definitely makes it better. It still struggles because it's really glassy. Has some like niche use because of Earthquake as well. So I think that's pretty good. Scrafty, man, Scrafty is a very solid Pokemon in Silpharina. Has some niche use in Great League, GBL, and has some niche use in Ultra League. Let's put it in B tier as well. It's kind of like my tier of like. Snivy evolves into not Superior, man, what's the name? I always mix up the name. Evolution, I think it's like yeah, oh no, what's the one stage of evolution of that? Evolves into, where is this? Oh, Superior, yeah, Superior, yeah. I would say C tier. Definitely has some niche use. Once it gets access to Frenzy Plant, then it's going to be a very bulky grass type. Snorlax. Snorlax is very good in Premier. I would say the 5th best Pokemon in Premier. Maybe like top 10 for sure. It's a very good Pokemon to use in the Ultra League. It's viable in the Great League, and Munchlax is actually very good in the Great League, so we're going to include the unevolved form as well. I'm going to put it in S tier. I think it has a very solid case in S tier, and actually is probably one of the Pokemon that's really competitive with Lapras when it comes to that S tier ranking, especially when you include Premier. Staraptor, I'm going to put into D tier. And then Talo. What's Talo's evolved form? Man, I'm really struggling with these Pokemon names that I never use. Oh, Swellow. Oh, yeah, Swellow. I'm gonna put it in D tier as well. Torkoal, unfortunately, I'm gonna put it in D tier as well. It has like some pretty decent stats as a fire type, but unfortunately, its moves are not that great. Well, it has good moves. It takes forever to get to them. I think it has like Fire Spin, Solar Beam, Overheat, and Earthquake. That's pretty decent, but it only has nukes, and unfortunately it doesn't have like a super fast generating move, which makes the nukes like okay. Like when you have like Lock On, it's okay to have Flash Cannon, Focus Blast, because you can just get there quickly. But when you have Fire Spin, it just takes way too long to get to Overheat and to Earthquake and Solar Beam. Torterra, I'm gonna put in C tier. Has some niche use. Same thing with Totodile for Alligator. Has some niche use. I would say Season 1 Ultra League, I would have put it into B tier, but it's since fallen off pretty significantly, and mostly because the meta has evolved more around Cresselia and Registeel than it has around Giratina. Tranquil or something like that. I'm going to put it into D tier. There's a lot of trash flyers. Tauros is absolutely trash. You can have 30 of them in battle and you'll probably still lose. Malmetal, I'm going to put it into S tier. It's very good in Master League. Even with introduction of Groudon, it's still like a top 7 Pokemon in Master League. It's like a top 20 Pokemon in in Ultra League, and then probably a top 30 Pokemon in Great League. I think it's definitely very viable. And the final Pokemon, and this is Ash's signature Pokemon, Pikachu. Pikachu itself has access to many moves, Present, Surf, Fly, Flying Press, which are all like pretty, like Flying Press are pretty good moves, and then Thundershock, Wild Charge is good. I guess if we include the Alolan version, which I will. Okay, let's include the Alolan version for sure. I was gonna say C tier for sure, but when you include the Alolan version, Alolan Raichu is very good in Great League. It's a purely Great League Pokemon, but it's better. I would say has more common use than Heracross, Noctowl, Sceptile, and Typhlosion in Great League. But it's not as like it's not as dominant in one league. I'm gonna put it in A tier. It's a little bit controversial. I'm pretty happy with this list. So in the S tier, we have Lapras, Haunter, Bayleaf / Meganium, Snorlax, Haunter / Gengar. I'm including the Shadow Punch variant of Gengar. We have Snorlax / Munchlax, and then Malmetal. I think that's very good S tier ranking. I'm pretty happy with that. If I were to sort them, if I were to sort them, I'd go like this. Yeah, I'd go like this. You might debate switching Lapras and Snorlax. Yeah, okay. I think Malmetal it definitely has a case for the best overall PvP Pokemon. Swampert probably is the only Pokemon that is truly competitive, like across all 3 leagues. Swampert is probably the only Pokemon. Swampert is higher rated in Great and Ultra League than Malmetal, but way lower in Masters than Malmetal. Swampert does have play in Premier, which obviously Malmetal is banned in. But at Lapras, Snorlax, you might interchange these. Meganium and Haunter, I think this is appropriate. Meganium has more play across both leagues. We haven't quite seen Gengar used yet, and that might change my mind. If I were to sort the A tier ones, man, this is so tough. Okay, I think like Frost Ice is last. I think Alolan Raichu is next, and then I would say, man, it's kind of tough here, to be honest, because like in Premier, I think Garchomp has the highest rank. When we look at when we include Premier, but it's only a 1 league Pokemon. Venusaur is the top A tier Pokemon. I think so. Charizard definitely has like more dominant play. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's leave it at that. B tier. This is the last one. The other ones are like not as quite as important. Okay, I think I'm gonna move Gligar down. Tyranitar is a very like 1 league Pokemon, but I do think it has more viability. Something like this. Scrafty is probably way better in draft and in like Silpharina cups. Like that. Depends on what you're waiting though. Like, I do like Go Battling right now, so I think that makes sense. Yeah, okay, let's leave it at that. This is my final Ash's Pokemon tier list. S, A, B are also sorted from best to worst within their tier, and then C, D, and NA are obviously not. Let me know what you think of this tier list and whether or not you want me to include more tier lists. Hopefully I'll remember some of the Pokemon's names that I never use a little bit better. But I'm pretty happy with this list. I think this is pretty solid. Yeah, let me know down in the comment section below if you want me to include more or do more of them. If you have some suggestions of tier lists that you want me to do, I'm more than happy to do it. So I'm gonna leave it there. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.